Hi everyone, I hope you're well. You have your first test tomorrow, so I wanted to go over a couple of questions from the review. These were some of the ones that I saw people had questions on or maybe missed when doing the review. If you haven't done the review, do it. Be sure to turn it in before tomorrow's test, but this might help you as you're kind of working through it. Okay, so let's look at these two problems. They're problems tomorrow's test. So let's look at this first one. Find the length of the diagonal of the isosceles trapezoid. Then find the length of the four sides. So first thing we want to find is this, right? Well, notice we have this triangle here with sides 4, 4, and the dash side, and we have that included angle. So we have side, angle, side. That means I want to use law of cosine, so I'm going to set it up. X squared equals 4 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 4 times 4 cosine 80 degrees, right? Well, I can plug that whole thing in my calculator, and when I plug that whole thing in my calculator, I get x squared equals 26.01, and then I need to square root both sides to get that x is 5.1, right? So that dashed line here, I'm gonna write it in so I have that to reference, is 5.1. Okay, well, we have an isosceles trapezoid here. Notice within that isosceles trapezoid, we have an isosceles triangle since these are both four sides. So these lengths here are the same, right? So we can find these two angles. These two angles are going to be equal. So I can say 180 minus 80, and I have 50 and 50 for these angles, right? Then the other thing we know is these two angles here are going to be equal because the base angles of isosceles trapezoids are congruent. So then this angle would be 30, right? And these angles here are supplementary, meaning they add to 180. So 180 minus 50 minus 30 leaves me with 100 for up here, okay? So I know this side's 100, this side opposite's 5.1. I want to get this fourth side right here, right? Well, I have an angle and a side opposite. An angle, I need to find this extra side opposite. So I'm going to use law of sines, and I'm going to say sine of 100 over 5.1 equals sine of 30 over y. Okay, let's cross multiply here. And I get y sine 100 equals 5.1 sine 30. I'm going to divide by sine 100 to get just the y by itself. That cancels here, so I have y equals 5.1 sine 30 over sine 100. When I plug all that in my calculator, I'm left with y equals 2.6, right? So 2.6 is the length of the fourth side. All right, last one that I was going to do. Sorry, I just copied and cut these pictures from the online book, so they're kind of weird looking. All right, the angle of inclination from the base of skyscraper A to the top of skyscraper B is approximately 10.5 degrees. So let's start by just kind of drawing a picture. Here we have skyscraper A, and over here we have skyscraper B, right? And it says from the base of skyscraper A to the top of skyscraper B has an angle of elevation of 10.5 degrees. So this is 10.5 degrees. Remember, angle of elevation is from horizontal, what you're looking up, okay? If skyscraper B is 1,478 feet, so 1,478, this is 90 degrees, right? We want to figure out how far apart these two buildings are, okay? So we've created a right triangle here, from this angle, this is my opposite side. So I'm going to label it opposite. This side that's labeled X is my adjacent side. So I'm going to label A. And so we have O and A. That means we want to use tangent. So tangent 10.5 degrees equals 1,478 over X, right? Now I want to get X by itself, so I'm going to multiply by X. So I have X tangent 10.5 equals 1,478 divide by tangent 10.5. So I have X equals 1,478 over tangent 10.5. That point I can plug that into my calculator. And when I do that, I get that X is 7,974.57 feet. Okay. Be really careful with little things like rounding, right? It says round to 2 decimal places. Be sure to read what it's telling you to do and round appropriately. Great. Well, email me with questions if anything comes up. Good luck on tomorrow's test. Talk to you guys soon.